Welcome back to Days of... Today we will learn about the explosive developments surrounding Sophia Choi's devastating adoption deception that's about to send shockwaves through Salem. The web of lies surrounding her secret baby is unraveling faster than anyone could have anticipated, and multiple residents are closing in on the truth that could destroy everything Sophia and Melinda Trask have worked so desperately to conceal. The crushing weight of Sophia's devastating secret. Since Sophia Choi made the heart-wrenching decision to abandon her newborn son, her entire world has been consumed by an overwhelming tsunami of guilt and psychological torment. The young mother has been living a nightmarish double life, wearing a fake pregnancy belly while knowing her precious baby is being cared for by Javi Hernandez and Leo Stark, who have no idea they're raising the child she secretly gave birth to in her bedroom. The emotional toll on Sophia has been absolutely catastrophic, with viewers witnessing her mental state deteriorating day by day as she struggles to maintain this elaborate charade. What makes the situation even more tragic is that Sophia never wanted to be thrust into this impossible position in the first place. She and Tate had originally planned to terminate the pregnancy, but her controlling mother Amy Choi intervened and completely derailed their carefully considered decision. The teenage mother has been forced to watch from the shadows as her biological son grows up mere blocks away, creating an unbearable psychological burden that threatens to consume her entirely. Melinda Trask continues to manipulate the vulnerable teenager, constantly reassuring her that their deceptive scheme will protect everyone involved. But Sophia's maternal instincts are becoming impossible to suppress. The district attorney sees herself reflected in Sophia's desperate situation, having once been a pregnant teenager herself, which has created an unhealthy codependent relationship between the two women. Every interaction between them becomes more charged with tension as Sophia questions whether she made the right choice in trusting Melinda's guidance. Tate's relentless quest for legal justice and parental rights. Tate Black's determination to establish a relationship with his supposed child has reached fever pitch, with the young father becoming increasingly suspicious about the adoption arrangements that seemed deliberately designed to keep him in the dark. His repeated attempts to contact the fictional adoptive parents have been systematically blocked by Melinda Trask, who claims to be protecting the privacy of the adoptive family. But her evasive responses are only fueling Tate's growing suspicions about the legitimacy of the entire situation. The desperate father has been experiencing sleepless nights, tortured by the knowledge that his child is out there somewhere, while he's been denied any opportunity to say goodbye or provide any form of support. His emotional state has become so fragile that he's begun questioning every detail of the adoption process, particularly Sophia's initial claims about it being an open adoption arrangement. If the adoption truly was supposed to be open, why hasn't he received a single piece of correspondence from the adoptive parents? Why can't he even get their last names or a general location where his child is living? According to the latest developments, Tate and Holly Jonas are planning to seek legal counsel from Belle Black, who has extensive experience navigating complex family law situations. Belle's sharp legal mind will immediately recognize the glaring inconsistencies in the adoption paperwork, particularly the lack of any legitimate contact information for the supposed adoptive parents. When Belle demands to examine the original adoption documents, she'll likely discover that the paperwork is either completely fabricated or contains enough irregularities to warrant a full investigation into Melinda's involvement in this deceptive scheme. Sarah's moral awakening and confrontational intervention. Sarah Horton Kyriakis has become an unexpected catalyst in exposing Sophia's elaborate deception, driven by her own overwhelming guilt about her romantic entanglement with Brady Black while married to Xander. Her personal moral crisis has made her hypersensitive to dishonesty in all its forms, and she's begun to see disturbing parallels between her own secretive behavior and Sophia's increasingly obvious deception about the adoption. The week of August 18, 2025, marked a critical turning point when Brady directly confronted Sarah about her suspicious behavior, creating a domino effect that pushed her to examine the ethical implications of remaining silent about Sophia's lies. Sarah's medical background has given her unique insight into the physical and emotional signs of postpartum recovery, and she's noticed inconsistencies in Sophia's supposed pregnancy timeline that don't align with normal gestational development. During their upcoming confrontation, Sarah will pressure Sophia to come clean about what really happened to her baby, using her own experiences with guilt and deception to connect with the struggling teenager. Sarah understands the destructive power of secrets within relationships and will argue that the truth, no matter how painful, is the only path forward for everyone involved. Her intervention represents a crucial turning point in the storyline, as Sarah's medical credibility and moral authority make her one of the few people who could successfully challenge Melinda's manipulation of Sophia. Amy Choi's maternal instincts detect dangerous inconsistencies. Amy Choi's suspicions about her daughter's adoption story have intensified dramatically as she notices the uncanny resemblance between little Tesoro and Sophia's younger brother. The observant mother has been carefully analyzing every interaction between Sophia and the baby, noting subtle behavioral cues that suggest a much deeper connection than Sophia has been willing to admit to anyone, including herself. Amy's concern extends far beyond simple family resemblances. She's deeply worried about Sophia's deteriorating mental health and the way her daughter flinches whenever Tesoro cries or shows signs of distress. The protective mother has begun documenting these suspicious reactions, creating a mental catalog of evidence that suggests Sophia's involvement with this particular child goes far beyond coincidental interest in a random baby living in their community. The revelation that Tesoro bears such a striking resemblance to Sophia's brother has triggered Amy's protective maternal instincts, causing her to question every detail of the adoption story she's been told. Amy's growing awareness of her daughter's deception will likely lead to a dramatic confrontation where she demands the complete truth about what happened during those mysterious hours when Sophia was supposedly in labor at the Chicago hospital. Javi's investigative connections and growing suspicions. Javi Hernandez has emerged as an unexpected detective in this unfolding mystery, using his natural curiosity and observational skills to connect seemingly unrelated pieces of information about Tesoro's origins. His unique position as both Tesoro's caregiver and a member of Salem's tight-knit community has given him access to conversations and situations that are helping him piece together the puzzle of the baby's true parentage. The fact that Javi and Leo discovered Tesoro at the fire station's safe haven box has never sat completely right with Javi, who has been quietly investigating the circumstances surrounding the baby's abandonment. His natural protective instincts toward children have made him hypersensitive to any information about pregnant teenagers or recent births in the Salem area, leading him to notice patterns and connections that others have missed. Javi's growing suspicions about Sophia's involvement will likely culminate in a confrontation where he presents his accumulated evidence and demands answers about Tesoro's true identity. His emotional investment in the child's well-being will drive him to pursue the truth regardless of the potential consequences for everyone involved in this elaborate deception. The medical crisis that will shatter all illusions. The most devastating revelation may come through a medical emergency involving little Tesoro, whose mysterious crying episodes during his birth may have been early warning signs of underlying health complications that require immediate attention. When medical professionals need detailed family medical history to properly treat the infant, the complete fabrication of his adoption story will finally be exposed in the most dramatic way possible. This type of medical crisis scenario has become a classic soap opera device for revealing long-hidden secrets, and the emotional stakes couldn't be higher for everyone involved. Sophia will face an impossible choice between maintaining her deception and potentially compromising Tesoro's medical care, while Tate will finally learn the truth about his son's location and condition. The medical emergency will force all the key players to confront the devastating consequences of their actions and decisions over the past several months. The ripple effects of this revelation will extend far beyond just Sophia and Tate, impacting Melinda's legal career, Javi and Leo's parenting dreams, and Amy's relationship with her daughter. When the truth finally emerges, Salem will witness one of the most emotionally charged storylines in recent memory, as multiple families grapple with the consequences of deception, manipulation, and the desperate lengths people will go to protect those they love. As the jury decides Johnny's fate, EJ's shocking memory changes everything. August 20th, 2025, will be remembered as one of those unforgettable days in Days of Our Lives history. An episode that leaves fans breathless, shocked, and eagerly awaiting what tomorrow will bring. The storylines collided with heart-pounding suspense, tender moments of friendship, and revelations that will change the lives of many Salem residents forever. The tension has been simmering for weeks as Johnny DiMera's trial drags on. Now the jury has been sent to deliberate, and the weight of their decision hangs heavy over Salem. Every second feels like an eternity, especially for the DiMera family. EJ, still recovering from being shot, is tormented by flashes of memory. For days, he insisted his mind was blank, that the trauma had erased the truth of what happened. But on this day, just as the jury considers Johnny's freedom or imprisonment, EJ is struck by a horrifying realization. He remembers who shot him. The revelation stuns EJ to his core. For weeks he had quietly hoped the shooter might remain a mystery, that perhaps the truth could stay buried. But Salem has never been a town where secrets stay hidden for long. EJ's face pales as the memory crashes down on him like a tidal wave. He clutches at the edges of the chair, fighting the dizziness, as the horrifying image of the gun and the shooter comes into sharp focus. Meanwhile, Salem continues to buzz with other intertwined stories. Kat and Chad. Finally safe, but at what cost? After weeks of danger, heartbreak, and near tragedy, Kat and Chad finally find themselves safe at last. The relief is overwhelming, yet safety does not erase the scars of what they've endured. The ordeal has forced them to examine their relationship, their choices, and the painful secrets that nearly tore them apart. For Chad, who has been haunted by betrayal and the fear of losing everything he loves, this moment feels like a fragile reprieve. But Salem has taught its citizens a hard truth. Peace never lasts long, especially when past sins still hover like storm clouds overhead. Julie Williams, who has seen more than her fair share of drama over her long life in Salem, keeps a wary eye on Chad and Kat. In her eyes, no one escapes unscathed when secrets are involved, and her instinct tells her that Chad's story is far from over. Belle's horror. Could her mother truly suspect her? While EJ wrestles with his memory and the trial unfolds, another mother-daughter bond faces a devastating test. Belle Black, known for her strength and sense of justice, is horrified when she discovers that her own mother suspects she may have been the one who pulled the trigger on EJ. The idea strikes Belle like a cruel slap. Marlena, the woman who has guided and loved her for all her life, quietly entertains the possibility that Belle's temper, or her complicated connection to EJ, might have led to violence. For Belle, the accusation is almost worse than the crime itself. How could her mother even imagine such a thing? This revelation opens a new emotional battlefield between the two women, one that threatens to break a bond that has stood the test of decades. A trip to the bookstore, lessons in life, lessons in stories. Away from the tension of the trial and accusations, Marlena finds herself accompanying Rachel to the little Salem bookstore. Foster, ever the eccentric shopkeeper, attempts to help Rachel find a book about snakes. But instead of delivering exactly what she asks for, he offers her something unexpected. A book about a young witch named Selena Salamander. Rachel's sharp eyes immediately recognize the resemblance to Harry Potter. But Foster insists this tale is different, even better. Why? Because the heroine is a little girl who holds the key to defeating the dreaded destroyer. For Rachel, who has always hungered for stories where girls are powerful, clever, and victorious, the book is irresistible. She begs Foster to reveal the ending, admitting that she has the peculiar habit of always reading the last chapter first. With a mischievous twinkle, Foster gives her the secret. The key isn't a magical artifact or a hidden weapon. It's lodged deep within Selena's own mind. The revelation is more than just the end of a story. It's a metaphor for Rachel herself, a reminder that strength and survival often lie within, not in the outside world. Marlena and Julie. Friendship in the midst of chaos. Later, Marlena spots Julie deeply engrossed in a book of her own. Julie, with her characteristic candor, admits she is reading about how to handle situations you cannot control. It is a fitting choice, given the turmoil surrounding Salem and the countless problems she cannot solve with sheer willpower. Julie voices her disapproval of Chad's decision to let Kat back into his life, grumbling about the danger of allowing someone with such a troubled past into his heart again. Marlena gently counters, pointing out that Chad and Kat still insist they are just friends. But Julie, never one to hold back her opinions, retorts with a sly reminder of a well-known truth. Sometimes, the line between friendship and love is thinner than we like to admit. In a moment of lightness amid the heaviness of the day, Julie recalls their best friend who used to sing about friends becoming lovers. And suddenly, almost instinctively, the two women join in a chorus of the beloved tune. What would you say if I told you, I always wanted to hold you? The bookstore fills with their laughter, a brief but precious reprieve from the weight of trials, suspicions, and memories of gunshots. A day Salem will never forget. This episode of Days of Our Lives masterfully wove together threads of suspense, heartbreak, nostalgia, and hope. EJ's horrifying memory promises to unravel the trial and send shockwaves through Salem. Chad and Kat may be safe, but their safety feels fragile, temporary. Belle faces the crushing weight of her mother's suspicion, while Marlena and Julie remind us that even in the darkest times, friendship and laughter can be lifelines. For longtime viewers, especially those who have journeyed with these characters for decades, the themes of this episode strike deep. Memories resurface, trust is tested, and the past collides with the present in ways that only Salem can deliver. As the credits roll, one question remains above all others. Now that EJ remembers who shot him, will the truth destroy lives, or finally set someone free?